450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and you may Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. We also allow you to check out the website where you can get interactive with other listeners without having to pay some ridiculous monthly fee. It's all completely free. Archives and more. You can go there and create the content right there on the front page of the website, thanks to our Reddit-based front page. You can check it all out over at freetalklive.com. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian here.
Melanie.
And Mark.
All right, so starting things out here tonight, the news about California becoming the first sanctuary state. This is according to the AFP, published at the very end of last week. It was Friday, where a decision criticized by the Trump administration, by the way, which believes the move will compromise security. California's Governor, Democrat Jerry Brown, signed the landmark legislation, Senate Bill 54, which grants better protections to people who are in the United States without permission, including those who have committed crimes. It also limits cooperation between local police forces and federal authorities in operations to track down undocumented immigrants. The legislation, which will come into effect January 1st of 2018, is part of a series of laws which protect the almost 3 million undocumented immigrants living in California, most of whom are from Mexico and Central America. Brown insisted in his signing statement the measure will not, quote, prevent or prohibit Immigration and Customs Enforcement or the Department of Homeland Security from doing their own work in any way, but it will stop local authorities from assisting.
Which is the proper standpoint. It is not, or legally, it's the proper standpoint. It's not California's job to do the Fed's job for them. Technically, it's not California's place from a legal standpoint to do the Fed's job. The states generally, except for immigration because reasons, are not allowed to interfere in federal law enforcement or to make their own laws regarding things that have been preempted and, in this case, constitutionally delegated to the federal government.
Now, was immigration constitutionally delegated to the federal government? I thought only naturalization was. There is a difference, right?
Some
people make that argument.
I don't feel like there is.
I thought, now again, I'm not a legal expert, and you are, because you actually did go to school. You went to law school. Isn't naturalization the idea of somebody kind of becoming a citizen, whereas an immigration is just like coming here?
So if you take the kind of historical perspective, you're not allowed to kind of just wander about countries that you're not a citizen of, just kind of at will.
But that's the historical perspective, and this was supposed to be a free country, right?
Well, I don't know that they necessarily said that.
Because they didn't address immigration in the Constitution originally, as I understand it. So
I don't see a difference. And you can really argue that point either way. I don't see a difference. They said they're going to take care of people coming in and out. Well, then that's... I feel like that's what the Constitution says. Even if you argue the other way on that, the feds have preempted the issue of immigration in their unconstitutional alphabet agencies, which is a thing they can do to areas. There's nothing left for California to say about immigration. And it's not California's job to provide manpower to federal statutes.
I agree.
It's not their place either.
Until California secedes, though, they legally do have to allow the feds to come in there and do their stuff. Like, they can't prohibit the feds from coming in.
From what I heard, they're not.
They're not.
So if the feds want to send in ICE to go do whatever they're going to do, that's the feds' business. It's not California's job or burden to pay for people going around enforcing ridiculously inconsistent immigration laws. That's just not California's problem.
Right. That's one thing that people get wrong on this sanctuary city thing is they believe that, in large part, the cities and states and whomever is, they're hiding the immigrants. Well, that's not exactly true. What they're doing is they're just not
assisting.
Yeah, they're just not dedicating any personnel because time is money out there in the real world.
Do you want to spend time going after real criminals or people who have crossed an imaginary line?
Right. And, would it increase efficiency in catching, people that are in the country illegally? I suppose. But that's not their role. That's not what the Constitution says. If naturalization and therefore immigration is the role of the federal government, then why doesn't the federal government do it?
Yeah, it's the Fed's job, so the Fed should have to pay for it. Another thing is they have prosecutorial discretion is built into a lot of laws, and in a lot of cases, depending on what type of immigration, what code number you fall under, it's explicitly built into some immigration laws. So it is improper for a state to kind of subvert that by saying, okay, well, you have these laws that you've built around prosecutorial discretion as to who you are and are not going to deport. We as a state are going to undermine that and just arrest all the illegal immigrants. Whether you believe in immigration or not, from a legal standpoint, that is the case.
And they can't legally do that, is what you're saying.
The feds have been pretty happy about when they did do that.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot, not universally, but in a lot of cases, it's one of the things that they kind of just let happen so they don't have to pay the bill, in my opinion. But yeah, there's no place for the states in immigration as the law currently stands.
Toll-free number, if you want to join this discussion, you're welcome to. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in at Skype username lrn.fm. The definition of naturalized, now this is not the legal definition, it is just the dictionary.com definition, and legal definitions can be different than the plain English definition, but it is to confer upon an alien the rights and privileges of a citizen, which would seem to be different than immigration, which would be to decide whether or not to let someone into the country in the first place.
Right. So when the country was founded, there was basically, immigration wasn't really understood. There wasn't an immigration control.
There couldn't possibly have been.
Right. So what they had was the control over, deciding who got to vote and things like that. But,
if you wanted to just come here and live, then you just came here and lived.
Yeah. If you were 21, you weren't a slave, you were 21 years old, and you were male, and you owned property, you could vote. And that basically is what it came down to. Very few people voted. George Washington was voted in, by the best I can tell, about 2%.
Of the population.
Between 2 and 3% of the population. Now, this is the greatest president we've ever had, and somehow voter turnout is important, I guess, but 2 or 3% of the population voted George Washington in. In many places in the country throughout its history, people who are non-citizens have voted. They lived in a given geographic area. No one cared. It's just like you're a human being. You're drawing breath, and you're here to vote. Vote. Not a big deal. Immigration controls aren't a relatively new thing. They're a post-World War I thing. They were instituted because of divisions among countries at wartime.
So, according to the story here at, by the way, the AFP, Governor Brown insisted in his signing statement the measure won't prohibit the federal government from doing their work. Quote, he said they are free to use their own considerable resources to enforce federal immigration law in California, unquote, adding that the new legislation will not deny ICE access to prisons. But in a statement, ICE Acting Director Tom Homan responded, quote, the governor is simply wrong. He said further that the law will undermine public safety and hinder ICE from performing its federally mandated mission. Ultimately, SB 54 creates another magnet for more illegal immigration, he insisted, adding that ICE will have no choice but to conduct at-large arrests in local neighborhoods and at work sites, which will inevitably result in additional collateral arrests. Now, what does some of those words mean? Collateral arrests. Does that mean that they're going to arrest people that are nearby the people that they want to arrest? I don't really understand that.
I would suspect it means, are you brown? You must, we're going to check your citizenship. And then they're going to get some.
He says they're going to conduct at-large arrests in local neighborhoods and work sites.
That is weird stuff. What the heck is an at-large?
What does that mean? We're going to ask.
None of those are legal terms as far as I know.
All right. We'll come back with more here. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is
Nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite.
No, 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 no.
When I get to about 3/4,
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free. The number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. We're talking about immigration and specifically the great news that California, now there's not a lot of good news that comes out of California because it's, one of the least free states in the United States, but, broken clocks do strike right a few times every now and then. California did get this one right, which is to say that they are telling the federal government that they're not going to be assisting them in any kind of immigration enforcement duties, trying to crack down on so-called illegal immigrants. The state is saying that the federal government can do those things, that they're not going to try to stop them from doing them, which, of course, would be something I'd like to see happen. Would kind of be like a nice step towards secession, I think, if that did happen. But it's a pretty big deal that they're not going to do anything to assist the federal government in enforcing these laws. So I think that's great news.
So the problem I have with this is that in the sanctuary cities, since there's sanctuary cities, sanctuary state in this point, you don't have the federal government hands out money to be distributed to by states for welfare and civil programs and things like that, right? And if essentially the state says to somebody who enters the country, without documentation or whatever, that we're not going to report you to the feds, that would embolden some to go and avail themselves of social welfare programs, for which I believe that they have no particular right to take. So if you
which social welfare programs are you talking about? California's welfare programs or the federal government?
They're all
kind
sort of mixed
intertwined.
Together. Yeah.
Okay.
So the federal government funds California's, and California subsidizes where they feel the federal government comes short, and those sorts of things.
So do the federal programs give subsidies to illegal immigrants?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so do the California. And let's not forget that in the state of California exist people who would prefer that their money not go to subsidize what they were going to call illegals.
Yeah.
Right. And that, those people's tax dollars are forcibly removed from them and given to people who are, who basically by dint of overstaying a visa or sneaking across a border is their only justification for taking that money. Now, I don't think anybody has a particular justification for it, but...
you have a better argument if you've paid into the system for 30 years, but that doesn't really apply to food stamps and Medicare, or I always get those two mixed up, but the one
Medicaid.
for poor people, not the one for old people.
Medicaid.
Anyway.
That's correct, and what you'll find is the argument on the other side of that is that many of those programs go to the young citizens that have been birthed from the illegal immigrants that that are then eligible for things like WIC and mothers and infants or whatever it is that the program is.
Well, a lot of these people that I think rightfully complain about welfare being given to people and the lack of controls that the federal government has on that welfare program. I completely understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, they're calling for more enforcement of immigration laws in order to what they believe will reduce, have the effect of what they believe will reduce the welfare program's spendings. And I think that's ridiculous. I mean, you're calling for more government.
I'm not saying that's the right way to go, but that's not the most insane argument I've ever heard a statist make. You're saying these people are stealing from me. They're a subset of the people that are stealing from me.
The people that are stealing are the government. The government are the people that are stealing. They're just giving the money away to people.
But if I flew to Russia and went and got on whatever their equivalent of food stamps is, I would be stealing from the Russian taxpayers because I never paid a dime into that system. It's not me getting my own money back.
You're getting the benefits of the stealing. You're not doing the actual stealing. The
guy waiting outside in the car with the car warmed up outside of the bank, he's not robbing a bank. He's totally innocent.
I'm not sure you can make the argument that you're outside with a car warmed up. I mean, so if that guy and his robbing friend, come home and with their money they have bought an ice cream cone and they hand you an ice cream cone and you know that it's a ice cream cone paid for with stolen money, are you then a thief?
Well, if I sign up to receive an ice cream cone once a month, and I go and vote to have him steal ice cream cones, yes, I am absolutely an accessory.
You're an accessory. You're an accessory, but you are not doing the actual stealing. You are not the thief.
Okay, but those are morally equivalent. If I hire
disagree.
you,
it is not morally equivalent to be the getaway driver versus the person who puts a gun in a bank teller's face. There's a big difference there. One of them is the threat of death. The other one is just somebody who hit a gas pedal.
The other one is support services for the threat of death. They are morally equal.
I disagree.
You're committing the same act.
Equal, but I think that even when it comes to sentencing, they're not going to be considered morally equal.
Depends on what state you're in.
That's true.
Well,
Louisiana, you would.
But not if you could get. Not if the driver was willing to testify against the robber.
What if the driver was?
Drivers have ended up doing more time than the actual guy with the gun.
That's because the robber was willing to testify against the driver, and they couldn't get the driver without the robber's testimony.
What if the driver was under duress in the first place? What if he'd been...
then you're telling me about a completely other scenario that has nothing to do with this scenario. If two guys get together and say, "Let's rob a bank," we're going going to go drive to the bank. One of us is going to sit in the car and wait for the other one running out with a bag of money, and the other one of us is going to go into the bank, put a gun in somebody's face, and get a bag of money. Let's flip a coin to see who does what. The coin flip does not make you a more moral person than the person who pulled the trigger.
Look, accepting the task of putting a gun in somebody's face, threatening somebody with actual violence in order for them to, hand over something to you is far more of a serious crime in my book than assisting that person in getting away.
So as long as you're good enough at violence so that you don't have to be the one to physically touch a gun, you can keep the moral high grounds?
I'm not saying it's moral.
But it's less immoral
I didn't say it was right.
than the guy who's less skilled. So people in,
if you put somebody in imminent danger, that's far more immoral.
So soldiers in the Third Reich, you're telling me were more immoral than Hitler?
No, Hitler ordered people to kill. That does make you a direct link to killing in that particular case. But if all you're doing is willfully joining a conspiracy to do it doesn't? I can see where you're coming from on that, but I just don't think it's
many soldiers in the Third Reich were
a lot of them were drafted anyway, but
inductees, yeah.
So if you want to join us here, you can. Our toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
So, the argument for accepting welfare from a libertarian standpoint is that you're draining the state. I don't know that the state doesn't seem to get drained because it can make its money.
Well, yeah, as long as you have fractional reserve banking, that's not a thing.
Yeah. I think that the biggest problem with taking government welfare programs is that you expose yourself to, more scrutiny by the state.
Yeah.
That seems like a terrible idea.
Business.
But if ICE and if Border Patrol have a role, I wish that they would investigate the people receiving government benefits first.
Yeah, they would just deport all the people who were on welfare, whether they were citizens or
You're
not.
Just ready to deport.
Okay.
Well, that's why I say these people who call themselves, many of them I imagine would fancy themselves as small government conservatives calling for immigration restrictions. They're calling for bigger government. They're using the claim that they want welfare to reduce, but they're just trying to increase the size of government somewhere else, which is to say increase the enforcement mechanism, increase the border patrol, increase the police state. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather live in a state where, some poor people are getting some welfare instead of a police state where we're all being checked and harassed and identified.
It's never limited to some poor people getting some welfare.
I know what you're saying, but if it's one or the other, I won't choose the police state.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. Skype username here is LRN.FM. Joining you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
We're going to get to your phone calls and thoughts, but I do want to let you know how you can mine Bitcoin. It's easy over at pool.bitcoin.com. Now, it didn't used to be easy. It used to be that you had to know a lot about how to do technical things on the internet. And now you don't have to know that stuff. You can forget about the costs, the constant equipment upgrades, and the maintenance. You can easily help the world make more Bitcoin by going to pool.bitcoin.com. All you have to do is put in an investment. There's a handy calculator there that will help you understand what you could make based on what you put in. 100% uptime guarantee. Go and learn more at pool.bitcoin.com. Mark and I are both doing this. That's pool.bitcoin.com. And you and I, we signed up for this before the advertisements began. We kind of did it on our own volition to support what Bitcoin.com was doing and find out what the whole process was like.
Right. We didn't want to recommend it if it didn't work out well. So, I mean, it's worked out well.
It is working out. I don't know what the final results are yet because I did a 6-month contract. You did a you did a lifetime.
Lifetime.
That's what yours was.
Forever and ever.
So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, pool.bitcoin.com.
It's lifetime of the equipment, not lifetime of me.
Correct. So anyway, you can bring up whatever you want. Let's go to Stefan. He's in Ohio. We'll continue with more on California becoming the first sanctuary state. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
I happen to speak to a lot of these small government conservatives you talk about that believe in border security. And a lot of the time, I can understand the reasoning. In a way, I understand the reasoning. We have to protect the country. We have to vet people that come in. We can't just let bad people waltz on in. Some people consider it irresponsible, and they think that's a legitimate, function of government that actually makes sense. Kind of like, they believe a military will make it so that we can defend ourselves, whereas you don't necessarily need welfare programs in their eyes. So you seem to talk about it like, it's hypocritical to say, oh, we shouldn't have welfare, but we should have a giant military or, good border security.
Yeah, that is hypocritical. If you support small government, because then you're calling for bigger government.
Well, right, but these people, they're supporting small government. These aren't anarchists. It's only hypocritical if you're an anarchist. They're calling for a minimum number of programs, and those really kind of are, they're wrong, and no government is going to stay small.
You can't call yourself a small government person if you support a humongous police state.
You can't call yourself a small government person really at all, because there's no such thing. It's like calling yourself, I'm a proponent of unicorns. These people are trying. I get where they're coming from. Those kind of are the core functions of what you would think something that's a government and trying to protect you, even though that's a contradiction, would do. It's not the same
but I don't
as
need
saying,
protection from
give
people.
me groceries.
I don't need protection from people who want to come work. I don't need protection from that.
You would get the
You do if they're going to consume more than they produce, even if they're working.
Does that that normally doesn't seem to be the case for immigrants from Mexico? I mean, we
don't have numbers on that because the kids are counted as U.S. citizens.
Yeah, it's very difficult to know the answers. As we say, the numbers show that we're getting a net positive as far as immigration goes, but the numbers are put together by people.
I don't care about the numbers. I just care about experience. And experience, the people that I know, the people that I've talked to.
But you only care about anecdotal evidence.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That is what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You said the numbers can't be proven. The numbers are useless. So who cares? The numbers can be, skewed. If you're putting statistics together, depending on how you ask the question or whatever, or depending on what you look at, you can skew whatever numbers you want, whatever way you want. But a lot of immigrants seem to be very, very hardworking people who do not consume very much. I mean, these are people who will stay large numbers per household, much more than we would, put up with, just so they can consume less, so they can lower their bills, lower their, consumption, and, possibly send more money back home to where they've come from. Generally, I think people know this, that a lot of the folks that come here from south of the border and elsewhere, folks from China or wherever, these are folks that want to work. Immigrants are more likely to be entrepreneurial. I think we've seen statistics about that in the past. They're more likely to start their own businesses, more likely than Americans, than native-born Americans to do these things. So I say, welcome. Come on in. You're making this place better.
I can agree with that to an extent because there are a lot of immigrants in my city that have been popping up for the past few years that are from Guatemala, and they are buying buildings left and right and opening businesses. But some would say that a lot of people that come south of the border are, basically asking to be exploited because if they want to do cheap work, they're going to have to do it on the cheap because then whoever hires them might say, okay, look, you either take the cheap labor or I report you to immigration.
That's a problem.
Right. And that's not I think that's it shows the desperation that these people are in, that they're basically putting themselves into serfdom in order to, make a better life for their family. And it happened. I mean, that's how people came here to the United States, was indentured servitude. They said, yep, I'll work for you for 7 years or whatever. And if you can bring some stupid case that says that I didn't work hard enough, it'll make it 10. Then at some point or another, I leave with a little bit of land and a little bit of money, and so that I can start a real family and start a real life, so that my my progeny can then build the greatest nation the world has ever seen. Yeah, like maybe we should let other people do that.
Well, why do you think this is only a discussion 9 times out of 10 when it comes to Mexico? Why do you think that we never hear about Canadians coming down here for, a better life?
Many times they come down here for better health treatment. And I've I dated a gal who came down here to work, and another one that came down here for college. So these things happen. It's just that
they're harder to identify.
They're harder to identify, and they get the pass more often. It's much more difficult to come from Mexico and get a job as a nurse or physical therapist, or come from Mexico and get a job as get a student visa than it is to come from Canada.
And one more thing, this is where I'm going to leave off on this. You had talked about investigating into people who come up here for welfare. Well, if they're coming up for welfare, wouldn't that kind of disparage the notion that they're coming for, hard work?
Well, see, they can do both. You can work really hard and also be on welfare, especially
but how
if
common
you're
is that? I mean,
who likes being on the system?
Aren't welfare collecting people known for being lazy and shiftless?
Yeah, they're known for it. That doesn't mean it's true. Lots of people on welfare have jobs. In fact, most people have
Don't they cut you off of welfare if you?
Not if you have a bunch of kids.
Not WIC or it really like.
You
Ian,
get food stamps all day long.
Okay, your limited experience with welfare is males taking welfare, and that's a completely different story than females taking welfare.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, absolutely, a family unit could come here, and Juan could work his butt off while Consuela, has children every 9 months, and they could be both hardworking and welfare recipients. Now, what I propose is a system that disincentivizes the latter and incentivizes the former. So yeah, what we want is hard work, and we don't want welfare recipients. I would say that we should create a whole new class of citizenship, that a second-class citizenship, where people can come here. They'll never have a chance to vote. They'll never have a chance to be a citizen. They quite simply can work. They'll never receive any kind of welfare. But as long as they work, they can live off of what it is they make, and they can get a driver's license and all that other stuff.
But they're contributing to our economy, so why shouldn't they be able to vote if they stay here, they live here, they work here, and contribute to our economy? Why shouldn't they be able to vote?
I don't want you to be able to vote either. I don't want any of these people to be able to vote. If you're listening to me, I don't want you to be able to vote.
Why is
What about you, Mark? Should you be the only one who can vote? Is that the plan?
I should be the last one. As the sanest man in America, all of them should
Just
be
write
dropped
off
off.
everything else you say after that
You're
one.
a Republican.
Everyone should be dropped off before me, and then that's
Ridiculous.
it. And then take it away from me.
All right, no one should take this man seriously. Thank you for the call tonight, Stefan. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want, and this is Free Talk Live.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
What if job searching could be easy? Like, what if you could search for a job, research the company, and apply all on the same site? You can do that on Glassdoor. Want to know what a job pays before you apply? Want a job with a shorter commute? You can find that on Glassdoor. What about insider info from actual employees? Yep, you can find that on Glassdoor too. Plus interview questions, CEO ratings, all on one site. So go to Glassdoor.com or download the app today. Glassdoor. Find the job that fits your life.
I'm Jay Farner from Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.875%, APR 4.05%. But choosing the right mortgage lender means choosing more than just a rate. Does calling the company with 11 J.D. Power Awards for client service matter? Does calling the company that invented Rocket Mortgage, the industry's most innovative technology, matter? If working with America's #1 online lender matters to you, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 3030.
Americans everywhere are enjoying their Sundays after successfully completing Mother's Day in less than 20 minutes this morning. Dads were able to wrap up breakfast in bed by 9:18 a.m., giving them plenty of time to mill about the garage for the rest of the afternoon. While children who spent a minute and a half this morning hugging their mothers are currently out playing street hockey. And after completely fulfilling their Mother's Day obligations with a store-bought card, teens are now free to leave and spend the day with their friends. The moms, who were quickly and efficiently lavished with cards, flowers, assurances of love, and 7 full minutes of family togetherness, praised the competency with which the holiday was carried out.
Oh, it was great. Charles and the kids made me feel completely appreciated, but they ended the holiday before I even got out of bed. Guess I'll go water the plants now.
But before the day-long celebration concluded early this morning, moms had their own job to do, making a brief, obligatory phone call to their own mothers.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and you can take control of the airwaves here at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and we do have Skype. So Skype on in here at Skype username lrn.fm. Here tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
We'll continue with more on the state of California becoming the first sanctuary state. But first, to the phones, to the fun. Victor's in New Jersey, watching or listening online at freetalklive.com. Hello, Victor. Victor in New Jersey. Going once. Hey, we have you now. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
So, question for you. I'm a philosophical and registered libertarian.
Excellent.
In the state of New Jersey. And I recently, in the past year, accepted welfare. Would you call me a hypocrite?
No.
It depends on, I'm assuming that you've paid into this or been stolen from the system in the past.
Of course, I've been working since I graduated college about 8 years ago.
Yeah, so if all you're doing is taking your own money back, that's not theft.
Should I be keeping tabs on the amount of money I make, so how much I could take back from the government, or should I just take it all?
I mean, I'm not doing that, but most people can figure that they've kind of been stolen from way more than they'll ever be eligible for. So... And then you could add, like, interest and stuff like that, too, but...
That's an interesting way to look at it. Never even thought about that.
Well, I mean, what the government is, it's an organization that is utterly and hopelessly insolvent. It's not illiquid, but it's insolvent if you count... Even before you count its moral debts, even by its own standard as it is, but if you add in all its moral debts, it is insolvent just beyond repair. So if it owes you money... which it does, if it's ever done anything to you, then you can take it back.
Mark, what do you think?
If there's a big criminal muscle-bound criminal in town who steals from people on a regular basis, and then at 4 o'clock every day he goes to the center of town and hands out $10 bills, is accepting $10 bills from that big thug, wrong?
No, I say no.
I don't think it is. I mean, people know where the money comes from.
I'm sure there are going to be libertarians who turn their nose up at this, but I've never, given anybody a hard time over choosing to accept welfare.
I think that theft is the responsibility of the thief. And that is a sticky situation when you're talking about other scenarios.
I think that generally the responsibility mostly lies with the thief, but if you knowingly accept stolen property, I mean, if somebody goes and steals a stereo from Walmart and then you buy it from them and they tell you, oh yeah, I'm giving you a good deal on this because I stole it, then you are to some extent morally culpable for that, even though you're not as, I don't think, morally culpable. You still are in that particular case. You wouldn't give that person a pass, would you, Mark?
No, I would say that I would say that dealing in stolen property as a crime is sort of immoral. As to what the punishment should be, it's difficult for me to say. I mean, have you contributed to the crime? Should you pay? Who's the victim? The person who had their stuff taken? Well, how much are you supposed to pay? Does the thief now only responsible for 90% and you're responsible for 10?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think the victim, they've been victimized by both of you, one for stealing it and the other one for kind of possessing it, keeping it from them still by possessing it. So whoever they can get it from, I mean, that's their choice.
Right. The property in a theft case, the property should be returned, if possible, to the original owner. If the property's been damaged, then that owner needs to be compensated for the damage, and the owner probably should be compensated for the frustration and the hassle and the costs.
And whatever they had to do to replace it in
Right.
or any and all expenses in, just ignoring proportionality for the moment, any and all expenses incurred, whether if they had to buy a new one, if they had to rent one, if whatever they had to do, if they had to use a cab because you stole their car, anything related to that theft is on all of the aggressors. Whatever aggressor they find it easier to get it from is not their problem.
That's a good point. Victor, other thoughts you want to share? Go ahead.
No, it's just you guys brought this up with that conversation with Stefan, and it made me raise that question. So that's all I really wanted to get from you guys, because it seemed like you were kind of heading in this direction anyway.
All right, there you go. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, and that's how easy it is to join us here on Free Talk Live. It's open phones every single night. You can bring up whatever you want. It can be a question about something we've already discussed or some sort of topic that we haven't even broached. So please feel free, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. That's our toll-free number. And you can call us on Skype username LRN.FM. Back to the beginning of the show, we talked about the story about California, as reported by the AFP, becoming the very first sanctuary state, with Senate Bill 54 being signed into law. It's going to be taking effect January 1st, and it's going to prohibit California law enforcement from assisting with ICE, basically. So ICE will be still allowed, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and DHS will still be allowed in California to do their terrible business of rounding peaceful people up and taking them out of the United States. But the California Highway Patrol, the California police, sheriffs will not be allowed to assist. A number of cities in California, such as Los Angeles and San Francisco, have already banned police officers from collaborating with ICE on operations to capture undocumented immigrants. Last week, ICE detained 450 undocumented immigrants in the United States. 101 of those were inside Los Angeles. The bill also signed into law includes assistance for students and measures to combat the abuse of tenants. So apparently they don't have to have one bill for one law there in California. They can just load them up.
Most states do, but not every state has to have one bill for one law.
So anyway, there's the latest on the sanctuary state, and if you want to comment, you're certainly welcome to do so. We never really did figure out what the terminology was here being used by ICE Acting Director Tom Homan to claim that by passing this law, the state of California is going to create a magnet for illegal immigration, and saying that ICE will then have, quote, no choice but to conduct at-large arrests in local neighborhoods and at work sites, which will inevitably result in additional collateral arrests. And Melanie, when we asked you this before, at the very end of one of our other segments this hour, you said you didn't believe that any of those were legal terms.
Yeah,
at-large arrests.
They're not that I'm aware of. That doesn't mean that they aren't from some other area of law other than criminal defense.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like to me that they're just going to randomly arrest people, and if they arrest them for immigration and they find them committing some other crime, I guess that would be the collateral arrest. Is what I would imagine he means. That's not a term I've ever come across.
Very confusing. But either way, it's disturbing seeing people rounded up, seeing them taken out of their lives, pulled out from their productive employment, because they do this all the time, where they go to job sites, manufacturing facilities, or wherever it is that immigrants are likely to be working, and then they demand to see the employment files of that particular employer, and then they just go round people up and take them away, while the rest of their family is at home, and dad or mom never comes home on that particular day. And then they don't come home again because they're sitting in a detention facility awaiting some sort of kangaroo court hearing.
That we all pay for.
Yeah.
They take somebody who is being productive in the economy,
right,
and they turn them into something, now a liability for us all to pay for.
Well, I mean, acting like every immigrant is a net gain is as silly as acting like every citizen is a net gain.
Agreed.
There are plenty of citizens that have jobs and work 40 to 50 hours a week and are still consuming more than they produce.
I concur with you 100%, but I'm left in this difficult situation when we vilify every immigrant as though they're stealing jobs and taking welfare. I am forced to point out that no, they're not. So it's productive immigrants that I'm looking for, but the system's set up to give handouts to whomever, and one can't complain if one puts out a bowl of cat food every morning that stray cats come by and eat the cat food. I was just putting it out for my cat. Well, I'm sorry, they can't read the name card. Fluffy, his bowl, he may come, the average stray cat may come and eat Fluffy's bowl. This is a dumb system.
Yes, it is very dumb. Unfortunately, it's hurting people. It's hurting peaceful people. It's destroying families. And I want to get rid of the welfare system too and everything. But unfortunately, the very people who want to call for a bigger police state in order to supposedly fight immigration through destroying more freedoms, those very same people are never going to call to end the welfare state.
That is not true. Republicans call to end welfare all the time.
No, they don't. When?
Every election.
When did the Republicans say we're going to take away Social Security?
Well, they don't look at that as welfare, and Social Security is something you pay into.
When did the Republicans say they're going to take away the military?
They don't look at that as welfare either.
But it is welfare, right?
It is a socialized protection program.
There's more coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450 free. Like freedom, this is Free Talk Live. Hour 2 coming up.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, October 9th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.91 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,282 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,599. Antiwar.com reports locals are reporting heavy airstrikes carried out by Russian and Syrian warplanes in the eastern Deir ez-Zor province that have left at least 79 civilians dead and an unknown number of others wounded over the last 48 hours. The strikes killed 50 in the Al-Ashara and Hajan districts along the Euphrates River. Other attacks were reported along the river, with Russia saying they'd killed at least 120 the Islamic State fighters and allies in the province in a pair of attacks. The attacks that killed combatants were centered around Al-Mayadin and Al-Bukamal, where 80 people and 40 people were killed respectively. The Bukamal incidents were extremely close to the Hajan district, so it's not totally clear if there isn't some overlap. This has been a recurring problem in anti-the Islamic State pushes by all factions, as the reliance on heavy air support to displace the Islamic State from populated areas tends to boil down to pounding residential areas and killing large numbers of innocent bystanders. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports the U.S. Embassy in Turkey announced Sunday that it has suspended all non-immigrant visa services to Turkish citizens, effective immediately. The embassy said in a statement, recent events have forced the United States government to reassess the commitment of the government of Turkey to the security of U.S. mission facilities and personnel. In response, the Turkish government suspended visas for Americans using much the same language used by the U.S. Embassy. The visa spat comes after Turkish officials arrested a U.S. consulate worker in Istanbul last week on suspicion of being involved with a U.S.-backed Turkish cleric who has been accused of orchestrating a failed coup last year. After the arrest was made, the U.S. Embassy in Turkey said it was deeply disturbed by the action, as well as leaks from government sources seemingly aimed at trying the employee in the media rather than in a court of law. The U.S. Embassy also said the allegations against the employee were baseless and anonymous. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the FBI on Sunday started returning thousands of purses, phones, and other property left behind by concert-goers in Las Vegas fleeing a deadly mass shooting as the Red Cross stepped up efforts to reach those traumatized by the October 1st massacre. Investigators still lack a clear reason why Stephen Paddock unleashed a torrent of gunfire into a crowd of 22,000 at the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival. The suspect shot himself to death before the police stormed his 32nd floor suite in the Mandalay Bay Casino and Resort high above the concert venue. Unlike many other perpetrators of deadly mass shootings, Paddock did not leave a suicide note, a manifesto, recordings, or messages on social media pointing to an intent. To honor the victims on Sunday night, marquee lights along the Las Vegas Strip were dimmed for 11 minutes from 10:05 until 10:16 p.m., the exact time and duration of the gunfire 1 week prior. On Sunday, teams of counselors fanned out across the city, attending church services and gathering at a family assistance center set up at the Las Vegas Convention Center as the Red Cross set out to find those in need of comfort. Spiritual and legal advisors were also available. The process of returning items left behind by those who fled in chaos could take weeks, according to authorities. Because there were so many phones, backpacks, lawn chairs, and other items left behind, the FBI has divided the huge crime scene into 4 quadrants, releasing items from only one at a time. Before release, the items had to be cleaned of blood and other substances, as well as categorized. Authorities began returning vehicles left at the concert grounds to their owners last week. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Retail giant CVS is gearing up for floods of customers seeking the perfect meaningless piece of crap for their office gift swap. The company is making no secret that when it comes to wasting the obligatory $20 on a useless electronic dartboard or pretzel maker for someone you couldn't care less about, CVS is your best option.
Our incredible selection of worthless shit is just the thing that nobody wants.
We guarantee you'll find nothing personal or unique in our store.
The company is offering massive discounts on otherwise unsellable items for holiday parties you don't even want to go to, like the $12 decorative lantern, which is expected to be a big hit with customers who grab the first thing they see when they walk in the store.
I really wanted to get something that said, I don't care about any of you people and I didn't put any effort into this.
CVS also has Hanukkah gifts for coworkers who you think might be Jewish, like candles and those little plastic net bags full of chocolate money.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. As always, you can join us toll free. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
As we go back to the phones and your calls and thoughts. It is Columbus Day, by the way. We're here live doing a show tonight. And, well,
because a lot of people take off for Columbus Day?
In the government, they do. Banks, governments. I noticed that UPS and FedEx were still delivering today, but the post office was not. So you can comment. We've got a story about Columbus Day. It's still the subject of controversy, as some people would say it should be, and that it shouldn't be a holiday whatsoever. We can get into that. Our toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE.
Without Columbus Day, how are the furniture stores going to have sales?
Let's go to Ricky. He's in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Good evening, Brother Ian, Brother Mark, and Sister Melanie it is, I believe, is it not?
Yes.
It is. What's on your mind tonight, Ricky?
Well, first off, I wanted to clear something from last night's conversation when the topic of slavery came up. You kind of dumped me pretty fast there, Ian, when I was talking about slavery.
Yeah, it was when you sounded like you were supporting slavery. You don't support slavery, do you?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
It up for you.
Now that's kind of clear that up, please.
Certainly, Ian, certainly. And now what I was trying to say when I got dropped was, you see, I said, what's wrong with that? And what I was going to follow that up with is contract slavery. Now, that's a very I don't consider acceptable slavery for life. And slavery for life is something in the South there wasn't a whole hell of a lot of. But contract slavery, how could I have issue if I heard that, you boys were talking about that afterwards?
What is contract slavery?
Well, contract slavery, as an example, have you ever had a business of your own, Ian?
Yeah, sure.
Have you ever used contracts with employees?
You don't generally have contracts with employees. You either have employees or contractors.
You don't usually have written contracts with employees, and that's actually not even true if you are big enough to worry about getting sued.
But if you are big enough, that's why I asked you. Corporations use them all the time, and the way contract slavery worked, and that's the word, work. And that's why this is so dangerous, because people are associating slavery with work. That's what's going to ride us right into a socialist society.
What is so dangerous? I'm still not clear on what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not clear that the South didn't have a lot of slavery for life either. Go ahead.
Right. Well, they didn't. They didn't.
They did.
That's a claim. It's not one that I necessarily agree with or endorse. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, standard 6-year contract. That was standard for a slave, and it didn't matter what color you were. Now, you had a choice. Now, despite what you guys were saying, where
Who
you
had
didn't
a
have
choice?
You had a choice of your master. In fact, you didn't have to have a master.
What the hell are you talking about?
I think you're talking about indentured servitude, which is an entirely different thing than chattel slavery that they had in the South.
There are people who are sold at auctions. Those people did not have a choice in who their master was.
Well, can I make a suggestion, Ian Freeman?
Huh.
You are a Freeman, aren't you?
I am.
Okay, now, the fact of the matter is, I know you don't give a damn what I got to say. And, nobody gives a damn what slaves had to say. Nobody gives a damn what the descendants of slaves had to say. And Miss Melanie, you're an anarchist. You know a lot about the Deep South. You know a lot about the Deep South. Do tell me about slavery, Miss Melanie. I really want to hear some of this, because you seem to know about this. What about these 6-year contracts I talk about?
Okay, so you're calling it slavery, but you're describing indentured servitude,
It was slavery.
You clearly don't know what you're talking about, Ricky.
I mean,
it's pretty
even if you
crystal
want to say
clear.
that indentured servitude is slavery, they had that, and then they also had chattel slavery, where they had guys go in ships to Africa and buy people from Africa and bring them back here.
Oh,
and sell them at
no,
auctions.
sweetheart. That was the British, sweetheart. Get it right. They flew the stars and stripes. Now, let's start getting to the heart of this. I'm talking the people of the South. I'm talking other Americans. I'm not talking the boats that came over with these people. And by the way, you do know about Anthony Johnson, don't you, Miss Melanie, since you're so knowledgeable?
What about him?
Who is that?
Who was he?
Who is it?
You know about him. Who was he?
No, she didn't claim to know him. She asked, what about him?
Well, okay, she doesn't know who he was.
It doesn't sound like she necessarily knows.
Anthony Johnson, see, there was no such thing as life slavery in the South until about 1650. And here's how this works.
Okay, well, 1650 well predates.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fine, but let me talk for a moment, sweetheart. You can definitely rebut to this. Now, as of 1650, see, Anthony Johnson was a British immigrant. Yes, and he was brought over on one of those boats, and he happened to be black, so be it. Now, he was in Virginia. Now, Anthony Johnson was well liked by his masters. Now, his thing was tobacco, little entrepreneur he was. In fact, he was so well liked, he started moving up, and they said, you know what, we don't need you really anymore, so you're freed. They use the word release now. So what did he do? Now, by that time, he already had 4 of his own slaves, 3 whites and 1 black. Now, he chose another master at that point in time. Now, once he chose his new master, because it's called work, right? He chose his new master. And see, what ended up happening around that time is one of his slaves, the black man, left.
Let me see if I'm following you. You're saying a man who was a slave also had his own slaves?
Of course.
Well, he did after he was freed.
But then he went back and picked another master. Do you need to keep calling her sweetheart? I don't know if that offends you or not, Melanie, but it's kind of, it seems some people would see that as rude.
I mean, it's kind of weird, but it's peripheral.
Okay, my apologies.
So you said this Anthony Johnson went and got himself a new master after he'd already been freed?
Yes, he was freed from these, and I'll tell you why. Because what he then did is continued on. You see, his thing was tobacco. Okay, now what ended up happening next is the most interesting part. Now, this one slave, the black man, left.
Okay.
He left because he thought he was free to go because his contract he thought was up. Now, Anthony Johnson made a phone call and said for the boys to go get this guy, and they refused.
Hold on. When are we talking?
But he made a phone call.
What time frame are we talking about here?
I'm sorry. You know what I mean. He wrote a letter, whatever the hell. This is 1650, and this is important to understand the slavery of the South. Now, once he did that, they refused to go get him. They refused to go get this guy. They said this man was freed. Okay? They use the word release now because his contract was up. So what Anthony Johnson did next is he went to a judge. In fact, he tried the sheriff, too. That didn't work. So he went to a judge next. Now, here's how this thing went with this judge. He went up to him and said, here you go, slam down, read him. He threw down the documents. The guy looks at him and says, why the hell are you here? This man was free. You know, why are you here? He says, wait a minute. He said, I ain't going to go send nobody to go get him. No way. He says, but wait a minute. He pulls out, and you know what happens is he comes now, and what happens is now he comes back, and he has this piece of paper, pulls out of his pocket, says, here, read him. And he reads him. He says, I had this one for life. And what happens is the judges call somebody over and take a look at this and say, what do? They look at the Constitution and say, well, okay, it doesn't say you can't. And they say, okay, fine. Now, I don't know if
I thought you said slaves have to stay for 6 years.
And what Constitution?
Well, the original Constitution.
The original Constitution in the 1600s.
You are just making crap up, Ricky. Thanks for the call tonight. Now, according to Snopes, the first legal slave owner in American history was a black tobacco farmer named Anthony Johnson. That's the claim. And Snopes says it's possibly true. The wording of the statement is important. Anthony Johnson was not the first slave owner in American history, but he was, according to historians, among the first to have his lifetime ownership of a servant legally sanctioned by the courts. A former indentured servant, which is what you had clarified, Melanie, that Ricky was likely talking about when he was talking about contract slavery.
It's not to say that indentured servants aren't a form of slave. It's just that when you don't want to conflate chattel slavery, where you're a slave for life and your children are slaves for their lives, with indentured servitude, where at some point or another you can sue for freedom.
Right. Anthony Johnson was, again, a former indentured servant, was a free Negro who owned a 250-acre farm in Virginia during the 1650s with 5 indentured servants under contract to him. So again, he didn't have slaves, he had indentured servants. One of them, black man named John Kessor, claimed that his term of service had expired years earlier and Johnson was holding him illegally. In 1654, civil court found Johnson, in fact, owned his services for life. 855-450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
So what happened with Law and Vengeance was we had a case that came in that we actually handled for a couple of years, where we had a weapons manufacturer that had created a defective gun sight. But they sold a ton of them to the military and to police organizations all over the country. There is a good side and a bad side where it comes to the way that corporate America operates, and that somewhere in there we have regulators and we have government entities that are making sure they play by the rules, but most of the time they aren't playing by the rules, and we don't have the Department of Justice forcing them to play by the rules.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller, Law and Disorder, comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype, so Skype on in here at Skype username, LRN.FM.
Would you like to know if something's moving around in your house? Would you like to be able to check in on your domicile anytime you like? Well, Blink Home Security gives you that option. They'll deliver a package right to your door like they did for me. You download an app, and they'll walk you right through the easy setup. It should take you about 10 minutes to get done. It'll notify you when something moves in front of the cameras, and you can set the time frame that occurs. Or you can check in anytime you want. So if you want to check in and see how the dog's doing, if you want to see how the new kitten's reacting, you can do all those things. And over there is all you have to do is visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. Today's a holiday. I expected to hear back from them, but I mean, hey, it's a holiday and people are, not reacting yet. But I think we were supposed to have this 10% off, and you get an extra camera. So you get 3 cameras for what the other guys are going to charge you for 1 if you visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, plus an extra 10% off. Go over there, check on it. If not, we'll have that fixed for you by tomorrow. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
All right, let's continue. You can bring up anything that you want on the way here tonight. We can talk a little bit about Columbus Day, considering, well, it is Columbus Day. And there's some protests out there, of course, and people upset. Should this even be a holiday? Let's go to Wallace first, though, in Vermont. You're on Free Talk Live listening on your phone. Go ahead, Wallace.
Good evening. You guys wanted to know what collateral arrests are. Before Mr. Trump took office, the Obama administration sort of had a directive that if they were looking for a person, and they would go to the person's last known residence, but they would find other people that were illegal. They would sort of tell them in a nice way, we're not going to arrest you, but if we find you again and you're still illegal, we're going to arrest you. Then when Trump took over, the so-called collateral arrest would be they're looking for the guy that basically had 5 armed robberies and killed 2 people, and there's maybe state arrest warrants outstanding for him. They can't find him, but they find, let's say, his parents. Then they'll turn around and take the 2 parents. Strangely enough, I'm in Vermont, and northern New York, and northern Vermont, which borders the opposite end of the spectrum in the United States, ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, now has a new deal. They don't get the support from the local PD. But let's say that same scenario. They go to a person's house, and they find 3 or 4 or 5 people, some of whom have state warrants. You failed to appear, you failed to do this, you're a parole violator that you didn't report to your parole officer, any one of these so-called state crimes. ICE now is turning around and say, well, if the statees and the locals won't give us information so that we can make more bounty points, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to turn around and say, we're peace officers. We can make any kind of arrest. So if you've got an outstanding warrant or whatever, you're coming with us. And, of course, then they turn around and call up whoever's got the warrant or the local boys. And, of course, on goes the chrome-plated bracelets. And usually the local
Are you saying
police
that ICE is making arrests for state crimes?
They're making arrests when there's outstanding warrants.
Issued by state governments, okay.
When you're basically driving along and you speed, they run you. And some places even have the capability of Interpol warrants. So there might be a warrant, say, out of Florida for theft of services, which is not extraditable in New Hampshire, as an example, of Vermont or most of these northern states. So they'll turn around and find some stupid thing to hang you and get you into a state court. And when the state's attorney or the local prosecutor or whatever decides, let's talk about bail, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Johnny Jones was down in Florida and he skipped out on a $25 meal and they charged him with defrauding an innkeeper or whatever, he's an escape risk. So even though it's disorderly conduct or whatever, we're going to throw the book at this guy. What do you think, Judge? And, of course, you get some, like your favorite keen judges that have that tendency. Well, let's throw this guy in the clinker, and the bail commissioner in New Hampshire will say, gee, let's hit this guy for $10,000 for this rather minor offense. And this is, I think...
And this is happening? This is happening right now in Vermont?
I listen to Scanner. I also have online scanners that I listen through the Internet, and I can pick wherever I want. But places like northern New York, northeastern New York in particular, where they have a federal court up in Rouse's Point, as an example, hey, it's only a hop, skip, and a jump to the federal court. So if we can turn around and the locals won't help us, so we'll help the locals, but at the same time, what we're doing is basically, I'll use the word harassment, but Melanie will turn around and say harassment's a broad term, right, Melanie? But anyway, the bottom line is that's what they're doing. And they're pretty good at what they're doing.
Wallace, thanks for calling and sharing tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. So saying that the federal government is coming in and making life worse for people who've escaped other states and might have active warrants for them? Guess that's what he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder whether that's...
I don't know how that punishes the state.
Yeah, I'm not clear on that either.
Because the state can just choose not to prosecute it if they feel like it.
Well, and they can't, the state of Vermont can't prosecute for a Florida warrant. They could, hold the person.
The state of Vermont doesn't even have to hold for a Florida warrant.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to if it's something serious, but once Florida says, oh, yeah, we're not sending somebody across the country to pick up for a, simple disturbing the peace, have a nice life, then they just kind of let them go, usually.
Yeah. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE from theguardian.com. Columbus Day Parade has reopened a debate about a murderer. Thousands of Italian Americans gathered to march down Fifth Avenue in New York City in celebration of Columbus Day. As that happened, a small group of protesters gathered a few blocks away at Columbus Circle, where a statue celebrates the 15th century explorer. Angelo Madrano, age 24, says if we're going to remember him, we have to remember him as a murderer and a rapist who killed 90% of the native population. Unquote.
So killing 90% of the native population is a bit of hyperbole because of the spread of disease. I mean, you can claim that me showing up in some place where there's some island off India, the name doesn't ring a bell to me, but if I show up, just my very presence is probably going to kill a good percentage of people.
Because you bring disease?
Yeah. Now, not to say that Columbus and those weren't, didn't use violence to get what they wanted. They certainly did, and they enslaved people, but...
All right, whether he killed 90%...
isn't a good idea.
Whether he killed 90% of the population or only 30%, still not a very nice man. If you want to comment, we can continue with Columbus Day. You can also bring up anything you want. It's Free Talk Live.
ProPure water filters. Most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad Gravity System. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective, and more affordable than you might think. Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love coincap.io.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free and join us right here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype at Skype username, LRN.FM. And whether you want to talk about Columbus Day or sanctuary cities and now states, with California becoming the first sanctuary state, you can comment on anything you want to discuss here on Free Talk Live at 855-450, free like freedom. Angelo Medrano, one of the protesters in New York City, protesting Columbus Day, saying that if we're going to remember him, he should be remembered as a murderer and a rapist. Medrano said that he believed a violent far-right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia in August and ensuing national controversy had helped focus attention on the symbolism of oppression and energized efforts to have statues of controversial historical figures removed from public spaces.
Yes, I would say that that's a true statement, that all those things have energized that. Yep.
He says, quote, "We should replace Columbus with a local Native American chief." His friend Alfredo Zubieta said even a statue of one of the Viking warriors who reached American soil before Columbus would be more appropriate. The small protest drew a handful of political figures, among them the state assemblyman and activist Charles Barron, who announced a new bill to change the designation of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Barron said, quote, "The land we're occupying now once belonged to indigenous people. Columbus was a murderer, rapist, and a colonizer, and he enslaved African people. We should not have a holiday named for an enslaver or for glorifying a murderer." In which case, shouldn't we get rid of Veterans Day and Memorial Day as well?
Well, there's certainly some people that are veterans that are responsible for murder. There's no doubt. So the difficulty here is that I don't want to be put in a place where I'm defending Columbus. I would say that he is a notable figure in history, not a particularly laudable one though. Why Columbus became the center of Columbus Day is beyond me. I don't think of all the people that we have out there. There's not very many people that have their own holiday, right? There's Martin Luther King Jr., Jesus, and then what? Who? Columbus?
President's Day.
That's not one guy. There's only like 3 people.
What about Christmas?
Right,
it's Jesus. Right. Okay.
So it's got his holiday, unless you want to say it's his death.
Easter also didn't Jesus get 2?
Okay. If that's what you want.
Okay, so if you're a deity, you get 2. Other than that, there's 2 humans that have their own day.
Well, some people believe Jesus was a deity, but some don't.
The holiday is around that.
Right.
So, I don't think that we need a Columbus Day.
Mm-hmm.
Why somebody's going to have a march for Italian Americans on that particular day? Maybe they feel like that's the day that they've got. Then okay.
Was he Italian?
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Cristobal Colon. Well, I mean, Italian by our standards.
I see.
But he wouldn't have called himself Italian. He lives in the Italian peninsula. But
didn't he ship? He didn't ship out of Spain.
Yes,
he did.
Yep.
Okay, so an Italian sailor living in Spain, shipping from Spain.
Yeah, he got financing from the Spanish monarchs, and so he went out of there. Sure,
got it.
So, it seems like everybody's got an axe to grind here, and I'm not interested in the axe grinding. I do think that if you want to be historically accurate on who discovered the Americas, Leif Erikson's probably a better choice. If you want to talk about who started, the age of exploration, Columbus is certainly that.
Wouldn't it technically be the people who crossed the Bering Land Bridge who discovered America?
I mean, I guess you could do that too, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the problem is you can keep on going back, and
right.
I don't know. Why has it got to be people?
Well, I guess you could say beasts discovered it first, right?
Sure.
It doesn't really matter.
Right.
When all said and done.
It doesn't.
But I understand why people are frustrated about this particular holiday, and I think that all the holidays should be abolished as far as government is concerned.
That's another thing is I'm a Quaker, and you're asking a person who doesn't celebrate, who religiously does not believe that one day is superior to another, whether or not what their opinion on a holiday. That's a tough one.
So wait, Quakers don't celebrate birthdays?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you specifically on a birthday, but they wouldn't say that one day deserves more attention.
So
than
what
another.
happens on your son's birthday?
Yeah, we have a birthday party.
Isn't that a violation of your Quaker beliefs?
What are you going to do? Kick me out?
No, I'm not. I'm not in your Quaker church,
okay.
And I wouldn't move to kick you out anyway. I'm just asking you.
No, I mean I do whatever I want. If I feel like
it's fine to do whatever you want, but didn't you just say that Quakers don't celebrate one day over another?
Right, that's the idea.
Is the idea that Jack's not a Quaker, so therefore
Quakers
it's fine?
also didn't say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday because it was you worshipped the sun, the moon, Tyre, Woden, Thor, Frigga, and Saturn. So they didn't do that either.
I see.
Quakers were a weird bunch, okay? I apply the rules when it's convenient for me. And that is to say that my wife and I don't buy gifts for each other because, well, we're just not going to do that.
That's a silly concept anyway. Yeah. If you have the same group of... It's like buying a present for yourself, really. Like, I bought you this with our money.
Right. Great. I didn't really want it, but thanks. Now you've spent money that we didn't need to spend. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one here. You can bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Well, there's a story I've been holding on to here for a few days. It's pretty detailed. It's about millennials. Actually, it's about the next generation, which they're calling in this story iGens.
iGens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I hadn't heard that yet. I didn't know what the next group was going to be called, and I don't know if that's been accepted by.
Can we wait till people turn 18 to start insulting them? Like that way they can defend themselves. But wait till they're old enough to get an account. You have to be 13. That way they can tell you something back. I guess not. Then they're not as easy a target.
People want to name this next generation badly. I don't like the generation names at all.
At all.
So I'm a Gen Xer, and I think I'm pretty firmly in the middle of Gen X. You are a cusper. So you're like the
right
last,
at the end of Gen X.
Yeah, so if some
depending
list
on
or
who
another,
you ask.
Yeah, some list or another, you're sort of the edge of Gen X.
Yeah.
You're more than 10 years younger than I am, right? Or a little
just
less.
Just about 9-ish, 10.
9.5.
Like
okay,
that, yeah.
It's half, whatever it is. It's 9.5 or 10.5. So 9.5 years younger than I am, and then let's say it's another 7 years older than me. What does somebody who's 53 have in common with you, who's 35?
Probably not a whole lot.
Not a heck of a lot. That's why I don't like these terms. And these terms are going to get less and less relevant, not more and more relevant as time goes by. Sure, if you're talking about somebody who's from the silent generation, which is what my mother's from, born up to, I can't tell you how, about 17 years is what they're calling a generation, but born up to the end of the Cold War, or end of World War II.
So is that the generation right before the boomers?
Yes.
Okay.
They are the generation that begat the boomers.
Got it.
But she didn't. She begat a Gen Xer because she skipped, and as many do. And so in her generation, sure, pretty much, she who's at the very end of the silent generation has, something in common with the people who are older than her.
Was that the so-called greatest generation, which was before the silent generation?
I think they might have called it. I'd have to look at the list.
Okay.
The Greatest Generation was a book written by Ted Koppel, maybe.
Okay.
In order to sell books. I mean, that's the title. They're the greatest generation.
Well, what do you call them?
There is no generation greater than these people. I mean, it's vile. It's a vile thing to say.
Some of them believe it, though.
Yeah. What'd they bring us? Socialism and war.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks. You're great.
Broken promises.
Yeah. So no thanks to the Greatest Generation terminology. But, as they get younger, what are we calling the end of the millennials here? Do you have a list of that?
iGen?
Yeah. What are you calling the last year of millennials?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Okay, I don't have it.
You can pull up some list or whatever. It's not really relevant to the story. The story is actually about the newest generation and their affection for the constant possession of their smartphones. And to some extent, this also affects, I think, everyone else who is constantly in possession of these things. As it turns out, there's some pretty shocking numbers that are like, yeah, sure, correlation isn't causation, but they're still pretty shocking, and I think they're worth sharing here. Coming up, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Are you addicted to your phone, and is that hurting you? Besides just hurting your productivity, is it hurting your mental health? This is Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us right here. Toll free, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype. You can Skype in here at Skype username LRN.FM. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people like you manage your own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to dash.org and find out why.
So the Dash network, which we've talked about many times here, and they're funding us, has set up an education program for science, technology, mathematics, and I can't remember what's
engineering.
Engineering, right? STEM, to pay teachers in Dash to teach kids STEM. So
that's cool.
Yeah, they're doing great things with their network, and I'm excited. So there you go. You can check that out at dashhorsenews.com.
Let's go to Mark. He's in Salt Lake City. Mark, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, I'm in my truck right now, and so I've got it on the speakerphone thing for the truck. So I hope this is coming through okay. But
yeah, it actually sounds pretty good.
I wanted to talk about the Las Vegas shooting. A couple of days ago, the Las Vegas Police Department held a press conference in which they said that they're now somewhat certain that this guy had help because there were two reasons. The first was that during the period of time when his vehicle had left the parking garage of that hotel, somebody had entered his room with a key card. During the period when his vehicle was out, and then his vehicle reappeared later after this person had entered his room. And the second thing is that they found that there was a cell phone charger that did not belong to his cell phone in the room at the time. And so my personal thoughts are that this guy really didn't even have anything to do with it. That would sort of make a good point, because because, you know, his family and everybody who knew him said that he really didn't care about anything, you know, just wanted to go to Vegas and gamble. And he could have gone out. Somebody could have gone into his room. And when he returned, you know, he shows up and there's all these guns and they shoot him. And now they have a corpse, which they can say.
Why would somebody who didn't have anything to do with him have access to his key card?
Somebody could have had a fake ID when they they knew that he left, so they could have gone up and said, "Hey, I locked my key card in my room. Here's my ID," which is a fake ID. So they basically already targeted this guy for being the murderer, and they have a fake ID and they get a key card because the cashier doesn't know any different.
I don't understand how how you believe that this guy could have just bumbled back into a firefight like this.
He could have come early, is what the guy's saying.
Well, he didn't actually bumble into a firefight. He showed up before the firefight even existed. And so as soon as he shows up, they shoot him, bust out the windows, fire out guns for about a minute, and then take off.
A minute?
And then by the time the police show up,
wasn't he firing for much longer than that?
No, was he? I don't know. But the police said that by the time that they showed up at his room, the gunfire had stopped, and so they were just getting set up to basically breach, and it took them like a half an hour to set up the breach, and then they show up there, and he's.
What about the claim that this very same guy had purchased a hotel room over Lollapalooza?
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
Yep, that's a thing. He didn't do the deed apparently during that particular shot. Hey, Mark, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it.
So
I don't know. Maybe it's possible that somebody else was involved. I mean, anything's possible, I suppose.
I got my conspiracy theory. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
The guy's an anti-gunner.
Is he?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay.
Ian.
Well, sometimes the theory comes after you lay out a few facts.
I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
Okay.
You have
so
the
this
facts.
whole thing is theory, is what you're saying. What are you going to say?
Best I got.
Okay.
Guy's an anti-gunner, as so many are these days. He wants to come up with the best scenario. He's suicidal or whatever. Come up with the best scenario to get guns banned in the United States. He targets a country music, concert full of Second Amendment type folks. Just guessing.
Claim was I saw that he liked country music.
It could be. I don't know.
Anyway, go ahead.
I hear you. Maybe that's the case, and creates a situation where, the worst killing and mass killing in the United States history. We have to finally do something about guns. That's my theory. That's my conspiracy theory.
I mean, it's not at all surprising that someone who was in a hotel casino was suicidal. Casinos put in windows that can't be opened on every floor. 32 stories up, you might not necessarily want people to open the windows anyway, but casinos specifically do that because people go to casinos and jump out the window. It is not at all surprising that someone at a casino hotel was suicidal.
Right. But what's surprising is that he murdered, 59 people or something like that?
Not really. I mean, people aren't morally outstanding in the first place.
I mean, when somebody commits that many acts of, that kind of an atrocity, it's a surprise. I mean, this was a record-setting.
Well, it wasn't because we're only counting murders by civilians of other civilians.
If we, however, if guns stay as legal as they are today, and maybe if they don't, there will be a mass shooting that is larger. Statistically, this has to occur. There will be a mass shooting that is larger than this one, right?
Maybe. Could be. I wouldn't say it has to necessarily occur. This is a pretty big one.
It's a pretty big one.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I don't know what, really happened in that hotel room. We don't know what really happened.
We don't.
And ultimately, whatever it was that really happened isn't going to affect what the government decides to do about this. Whether it, really was this guy, or there was somebody else who was helping him, or it wasn't him at all, and it was the somebody else who murdered this guy and then managed to escape from the scene. Whichever story happens to be the truth isn't going to have any kind of sway over whether or not the federal government decides to go ahead and ban some more guns. They're going to ban the guns if they want to ban the guns, and not if they don't want to. And if they do or they don't, it's also going to have no effect on whether or not more gun murders happen in the United States. Because
the guns kind of already exist.
right,
Game over.
Banning the guns don't make the guns disappear, and demanding that people turn them in isn't going to make most of them get turned in either. How many people who are illegal gun owners will actually line up to voluntarily turn over their weapon? I don't know how many would do it, but I don't think it's going to be all of them. I don't know if it'll be half, but your comments are welcome. You can share your thoughts. Would you turn in your guns? The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. And I suspect some states like New Hampshire would likely push back very strongly against any kind of federal gun restrictions or forced turn-ins or regulations, because New Hampshire is a very gun-oriented place. Even the Democrats grew up around guns here in New Hampshire, and it's very hard to actually restrict firearms ownership and sales within this state. In fact, we recently actually had firearms freedom increase in New Hampshire. It was this year that it was made legal for anybody who's not a felon or otherwise prohibited from carrying a gun or owning a gun to be able to carry a gun concealed without asking the state's permission. So you no longer need to have a license to do that in the state of New Hampshire as of earlier this year. So we're moving in the right direction as far as self-defense is concerned, and I highly doubt that some hysteria that might be coming out of political channels outside of this Vegas thing is going to affect New Hampshire.
Well, it was hysteria that got guns banned in Australia. So there was a big bad shooting.
Is that right?
Yep. And it came out of that. I think that what we find is that after shootings, the pitch increases for some time to stop these things. In this case, it seems to be they're focusing on bump stocks. Well, if I could trade bump stocks for reciprocity in all 50 states, I'd do that. Right?
You mean if New Hampshire's license became reciprocal in all 50 states?
Right.
I see. Well, I mean, whether they get rid of bump stocks or not, again, that's not going to stop people from committing mass murder. It's just a little accessory for a gun that
some very small percentage of the population has.
And you can recreate, you can bump fire without a bump stock, right?
Yep.
I've done that before. I've never even used a bump stock, and I've done bump firing. So, toll-free number here tonight, 855-450, free, 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Our smartphones literally destroying an entire generation of people. We'll look into that coming up here, and you can bring up whatever you want on Free Talk Live. Hour 3 is coming up next.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
There are are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, October 9th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.91 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,282 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,599. Antiwar.com reports locals are reporting heavy airstrikes carried out by Russian and Syrian warplanes in the eastern Deir ez-Zor province that have left at least 79 civilians dead and an unknown number of others wounded over the last 48 hours. The strikes killed 50 in the Al-Ashara and Hadyan districts along the Euphrates River. Other attacks were reported along the river, with Russia saying they'd killed at least 120 the Islamic State fighters and allies in the province in a pair of attacks. The attacks that killed combatants were centered around Al-Mayadin and Al-Bukamal, where 80 people and 40 people were killed respectively. The Bukamal incidents were extremely close to the Hadyan district, so it's not totally clear if there isn't some overlap. This has been a recurring problem in anti-the Islamic State pushes by all factions, as the reliance on heavy air support to displace the Islamic State from populated areas tends to boil down to pounding residential areas and killing large numbers of innocent bystanders. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports the U.S. Embassy in Turkey announced Sunday that it has suspended all non-immigrant visa services to Turkish citizens, effective immediately. The embassy said in a statement, recent events have forced the United States government to reassess the commitment of the government of Turkey to the security of U.S. mission facilities and personnel. In response, the Turkish government suspended visas for Americans using much the same language used by the U.S. Embassy. The visa spat comes after Turkish officials arrested a U.S. consulate worker in Istanbul last week on suspicion of being involved with a U.S.-backed Turkish cleric who has been accused of orchestrating a failed coup last year. After the arrest was made, the U.S. Embassy in Turkey said it was deeply disturbed by the action, as well as leaks from government sources seemingly aimed at trying the employee in the media rather than in a court of law. The U.S. Embassy also said the allegations against the employee were baseless and anonymous. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the FBI on Sunday started returning thousands of purses, phones, and other property left behind by concert-goers in Las Vegas fleeing a deadly mass shooting as the Red Cross stepped up efforts to reach those traumatized by the October 1st massacre. Investigators still lack a clear reason why Stephen Paddock unleashed a torrent of gunfire into a crowd of 22,000 at the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival. The suspect shot himself to death before the police stormed his 32nd floor suite in the Mandalay Bay Casino and Resort high above the concert venue. Unlike many other perpetrators of deadly mass shootings, Paddock did not leave a suicide note, a manifesto, recordings, or messages on social media pointing to an intent. To honor the victims on Sunday night, marquee lights along the Las Vegas Strip were dimmed for 11 minutes from 10:05 until 10:16 p.m., the exact time and duration of the gunfire 1 week prior. On Sunday, teams of counselors fanned out across the city, attending church services and gathering at a family assistance center set up at the Las Vegas Convention Center as the Red Cross Collateral set out to find those in need of comfort. Spiritual and legal advisors were also available. The process of returning items left behind by those who fled in chaos could take weeks, according to authorities. Because there were so many phones, backpacks, lawn chairs, and other items left behind, the FBI has divided the huge crime scene into 4 quadrants, releasing items from only one at a time. Before release, the items had to be cleaned of blood and other substances, as well as categorized. Authorities began returning vehicles left at the concert grounds to their owners last week. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to a study released Thursday by the Princeton University Department of Biology, this local 2-year-old woodland chipmunk has crafted a far more secure and dependable plan for the future than 8 out of 10 Americans. Reporters spoke to citizens to get their view on the study.
Clearly, this chipmunk is pretty impressive. I mean, he wakes up every morning and says, I need to collect acorns and berries for the winter. He sets goals for himself and he gets it done.
If he has to make a burrow in a tree stump, that's exactly what he does. He doesn't pause and have a snack and lay around for a few hours.
Out of nearly 40 separate interviews with Americans, 33 told reporters they were very impressed by the chipmunk's continued display of foresight, personal responsibility, and pragmatic decision-making when considering his own future.
He's preparing for winter, he's building a home, and he's trying to get enough nutrients to make it throughout the rest of the day. All this while being worried about maybe getting eaten by a wolf or an owl or something. Earlier this week, the electricity went off in my home because I forgot to pay my bill. It's the second time this year.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live. We're inviting you to join us on the radio waves here as Bitcoin flirts with a new record high. It was earlier today at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time when Bitcoin set a new record high, according to BitcoinAverage.com, and it is right back up. It kind of stumbled down a little bit since then, and now it's back up and within about $10 striking distance of setting another new record high. So it's exciting times as Bitcoin had taken a bit of a tumble down to, what was it, as low as
3,000.
Was it as low as 3,000 at one point?
That's what it said in an article today.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And that was after the Chinese government attacked some Bitcoin exchanges and said something about banning Bitcoin or whatever.
Stuff. Attacked isn't the right term.
Okay, I thought they were shutting down Bitcoin exchanges.
I think they were threatening to do stuff like that.
But anyway, Bitcoin always bounces back from whenever government kind of threat comes against Bitcoin's exchanges and the businesses out there attempting to help the Bitcoin economy.
Don't bet against the coin.
Bitcoin has always come back from whatever threat any kind of government has tried to put against it. And so we're excited. We're watching it closely here, especially as we're getting once again close to another potential fork, which could result in another split of the Bitcoin protocol, splitting into more Bitcoin. And it's without getting into explaining how all that works, because I'm sure we're going to talk about that in great detail over the next several weeks. We're about that close here. We're maybe about 2 weeks away now from the Bitcoin Gold so-called fork, which is the lesser of the forks. It's not as well promoted or known. There's the next one that'll happen.
Is that
going to
just be free money like Bitcoin Cash was?
Probably, if it
there's
succeeds.
No other way to do it, is there?
To fork Bitcoin?
Yeah, without just kind of doubling wherever that spot on the ledger was.
Well, I mean, the other way to do it would be the way that all the other altcoins have done it, which is to say, copy Bitcoin's code and then launch your own code.
Launch a fork, right?
Depends who you ask, I think, but because you're forking their code, but you're starting fresh, starting with the new mining.
You're not
forking the blockchain.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can talk more about Bitcoin any old time you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. Let's talk to Dave Ridley. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, gentlemen. I have some New Hampshire news.
And there's a lady here, just so you know.
Oh, yes. Gentleman and lady.
All right.
Sorry. You must have been too quiet.
No, she's not very quiet in general. She's
not
very opinionated.
on the radio usually, no.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, there is the town government in Chester, New Hampshire, just east of Manchester, is trying to evict a bunch of farmers or a family of farmers.
Oh no! Why?
You think about this?
No.
there was an article in the Union Leader, but there's now information, more specific coming out on cnht.org, which is the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers.
Yep. Okay.
And what it was a situation, I guess, where they had some sort of, the lady that owned it died, and she had a will that sort of turned it over to the town, basically, for some time. And there were some stipulations in it. She wanted it to continue being a working farm or something like this. So apparently, a family was renting it from the town, and no one. I can't figure out why. I don't know. I don't even know of any claims as to why they are ejecting them. There was a non-public session and a public session related to ejecting them, I guess. And there is, I guess, I'm pretty sure I saw some sort of a petition drive or something that was already waged by townspeople, and maybe another one more recently by a Free Stater. I think I saw on Facebook. So the wheels are spinning. Things are getting spun up to do something about this, but it may be too late because it sounds like they may have already been evicted.
So, I mean, I'm not sure if somebody needs to do something about this unless it's proven that there's not a good reason for their eviction. I mean, maybe they are bad tenants, or they haven't paid the rent, or, do we know what the town side of the story is on this?
I'm still trying to find any hint of that. I didn't see it in a skim of the Union Leader article, and I was still reading it when you put me on.
Because sometimes you evict tenants for a good reason, right? Like, they're bad tenants.
Well, in New Hampshire, maybe this doesn't apply to the state, but it's pretty difficult, from what I understand, to evict people just because you want your property back.
No, you can cancel a lease based on a variety of different violations of that lease.
Right, but you can't just say, I don't want to rent to you anymore. See ya.
I see what you're saying.
Here's a quote from one of the selectmen, Cass Buckley, from the Union Leader article says, quote, Cass Buckley said he and his fellow selectmen believe Spring Hill Farm should be a true working farm with activities that the whole town can enjoy. He said the selectmen all have an idea of what an operating farm should be, unquote.
So they want to run the farm.
Wait a second. What is a real working farm, and why would the community enjoy it?
Yeah, that's because some people are just really sadistic, Mark.
I have a real working farm, and I enjoy it. The rest of the townspeople in my town do not, unless they want to come by and visit, in which case they're welcome.
I hear you're hiring woodstackers.
Yeah, please come by. Enjoy my farm.
I don't think that there's really anything to do here. She left it to the state. That was
a mistake.
I would even go so far as to say that's immoral. I don't feel like making that argument right now. It's weird at best. But that's what she did. I mean,
it does actually belong to the town. It's not like they're coming for something somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they legitimately own this. Now, the other argument is the rest of the family is highly likely also victims of the state, and therefore they can seize random property of their insolvent creditor who has declared their intentions of never paying them back. But it would be on that ground. It's not on the grounds that they have some claim to this specific piece of land, because they don't.
Yeah.
Dave, anything else you want to share tonight?
I would just urge folks to keep an eye on it, especially if they're in the area. There's, I'm sure the suites, the folks that live there have plenty of side to tell, and I haven't gotten very deeply into that yet.
Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Keep us in the loop if you like. And that's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. I actually did some recent research into the landlord-tenant law here in New Hampshire due to some difficulty with some so-called libertarian tenants that the church had. And I feel like, and again, I don't have it right in front of me, or at least easily accessible. I have the RSA in front of me, which is what they call them, statutes here in New Hampshire. And I do feel like that you don't necessarily need a violation of the lease. Like, for instance, if you have a month-to-month lease with somebody, then you can just give them the appropriate amount of notice, which is required by eviction. In this case, it's 30 days. And, they can challenge that, obviously, in court, but ultimately it's not wrong necessarily, as I understood it, to just terminate a lease.
If there's something to challenge, then that means that you can't just kick people out with notice. And I mean,
well, right, it's this renters' rights stuff. Is the idea is that
right? So you don't actually have control over your own property if you choose to rent it out.
No,
in
not
New Hampshire.
complete control. And this is true in a lot of states where renters are given a whole lot of sway as far as the court system is concerned. And it's pretty unfair in a lot of cases to landlords, but the idea is that sometimes landlords are unfair to tenants, and so these laws have been created to so-called protect them. But of course, they also allow the tenants to turn the law against the landlord in an unfair manner, and possibly draw out a undesirable tenancy, which could result in even more damage to a property being done by those undesirable tenants. So it's generally, these laws are written to favor the tenants, but that doesn't mean that you can't legally terminate or evict somebody simply because you want the property back, or you want to rent it out to somebody else. So long as their term is up, I think you have the right to do
you
that.
you shouldn't be able to violate a lease anyway. If you have a year lease and you're 6 months in and you're like, I want them to leave, well, too bad.
Right.
You signed a year lease.
You wrote a year-long lease.
But if to choose either not to renew it, and if it's month to month, it ends at the end of the month, then there should be no restrictions on that.
There should be no restrictions on that. And I hope that you'll propose repealing some of the landlord-tenant stuff that we have here in New Hampshire and making it a little more fair for everybody, because unfortunately all the tenant has to do is just swing on down to the courthouse and have a judge issue an order putting a stay on the eviction. We're coming up.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free here at 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. And with you tonight, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Speaking of Melanie, she's got a tax service that she is offering you as an anarchist accountant. So if you've wanted your tax preparation help to actually share your values, to share your beliefs about getting rid of the state entirely, then Melanie can help. She can help you minimize the damage done to you by the federal government and its obtrusive tax system, and help you maximize the amount of money that you keep every single year.
So we used Melanie at my house. We're transitioning over from my wife doing the taxes to Melanie doing them. And, at this point, basically, my wife does them and Melanie checks them, if that makes sense. Melanie offered a piece of advice that saved us a lot of money that would have otherwise, that caused us from we didn't make a mistake essentially, and therefore didn't
that you would have made
that we were going to make. And because who knows these laws? Well, you got to have somebody who does.
Yep.
You make assumptions, and your assumptions sometimes aren't correct. So Melanie, because of her knowledge, saved us a lot of money. And I've got to make a very high recommendation that if you file taxes, if you've got a small business, if you're any of these things, that you get a hold of Melanie at tax.freetalklive.com.
Let's continue here. You can bring up anything you want. Again, that's Melanie. You can go right to her website, tax, T-A-X, tax.freetalklive.com. Sarah's in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes. It was announced that our auto-related deaths all went up. Motorcycle deaths, pedestrian fatalities. So it was altogether 37,000 people that were killed.
You're talking about in the United States in 1 year?
Well, yeah, I think it's tallied up this United States.
Boy, you better stay inside.
Yeah, auto deaths are going up. You'd think that all the safety features that are on cars would make auto deaths go down over time.
Well, it's included automatic cameras and blind spot detections and so forth coming about. But the thing is, how come I'm the only one that's excited about it? Everybody just
You're excited about more people dying?
No, it upsets me. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a major issue. But
when you say you're excited about it, what do you mean?
Well, what I'm saying, I think it's a major issue, but everybody else thinks it's an unimportant issue.
So when you say excited, you mean like you want to talk about this, not that you're happy or ebullient about it.
Yeah, excited usually means happy.
Yeah, I think that she's using it properly.
I mean, I'm happy. Not excited in a happy way, but it just gets me like.
You're riled up.
Like,
you're riled up. You're fired up. You're ready to go. You're ready to do something. You're ready to call talk radio incessantly and talk about this topic.
So,
Sarah,
Sarah,
you think that you talk more about police brutality, shootings. For every one of them,
actually, I've specifically avoided talking about that topic just because I'm so tired of it.
No, that's my favorite topic.
Yeah, that is Melanie's thing.
Well, that's what
She gets excited about that.
Okay, so one person gets shot by a police, okay? Again, maybe
it's more like 1,000 in the last year.
Yeah, but she's saying it's 37,000.
People were killed by cars. But you know what? You think that's...
But the cars usually didn't mean to do it.
What?
Well, and if you get hit by a car, it might not be your fault. It might be your fault. It might be both of them's fault. If you're shot by a cop, it's pretty much clearly the cop's fault.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE.
Plenty of people who've been shot by cops that deserve it.
Sure. So anyway, interesting story over at The Atlantic. Way too long to read the whole thing on the air, but very, very detailed about young people today, the iGen, which is the generation that the author here at The Atlantic is calling the generation coming after the millennials. The author here is Jean M. Twenge, and she mentions the beginning of the story that she's been studying generational differences for 25 years, and typically characteristics that come to define a generation appear gradually and along a continuum. But there's been a big change. In 2012, she noticed abrupt shifts in teen behaviors and emotional states. The gentle slopes of line graphs became steep mountains and sheer cliffs, regarding a very interesting and pervasive topic, which is the ownership and continuing use and abuse of cell phones, of smartphones. And I'm going to just jump through a bunch of sort of the introductory text here and jump into the meat of what's happening. She points out that 8th, 10th, and 12th graders in the 2010s actually spend less time on homework than Gen X teens did in the early 1990s.
Okay.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
The time that seniors spend on activities such as student clubs and sports and exercise has changed little in recent years. Combined with the decline in working for pay, this means that the iGen teens have more leisure time than Gen X teens did, not less.
I'm not hearing anything bad.
So what are they doing with all that time? They are on their phone, in their room, alone, and often distressed. One of the ironies of iGen life is that despite spending far more time under the same roof as their parents, today's teens can hardly be said to be closer to their mothers and fathers than their predecessors were. They interviewed a teenage girl for this. She's 13. Athena is her name. They talk earlier about her in the article. She says, "I've seen my friends with their families. They don't talk to them. They just say, okay, whatever, while they're on their phones. They don't pay attention to their family." Now, let's be clear. I don't think that's that different than, the way things might have been for a lot of teenagers when we were growing up, but we didn't have the ever-present phone to provide that distraction.
Yeah, I've got to say that, there was, for me and for most of my peer group, there was a disdain for their parents.
Sure.
It may not have been not listening. She's claiming to not listen here, but just basically a disdain. What the parents wanted was bad, whatever it might be, and what we wanted. They were the fun police essentially,
right?
And we were out to have fun.
I remember going to the mall and wanting to not be around my parents.
The only people that this wasn't true for that I knew sort of before I got married were homeschooled people.
Like her peers, Athena's an expert at tuning out her parents so she can focus on her phone. She spent much of her summer keeping up with her friends, but nearly all of it was over text or Snapchat. She says, "I've been on my phone more than I've been with actual people. My bed has, like, an imprint of my body." Unquote. And in this, too, she is typical. The number of teens who get together with their friends nearly every day dropped by more than 40% from the year 2000 to 2015.
Okay, so this is an article to tell me that people who aren't allowed to drive don't go places.
No, they're talking about teenagers who also can drive. We're talking about just teens in general here. It's also not only and that's a huge decline because they also couldn't drive in the year 1990 or 1995. But between
there's less, CPS cops out being like, your kids aren't allowed to be outside back then. So yeah, no.
Does that apply to teenagers? I mean, I understand that the parents who let their children go to the park without supervision are being targeted, and I think that's a terrible thing.
I mean, did they have curfews back in the 90s? I don't remember that.
I think some places did, absolutely. Yeah. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. There's more pretty shocking statistics about teenagers today and the smartphone use coming up.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
In an emergency, you need a fire now. But what if the wood is wet? No problem for InstaFire. Our non-toxic fire starter packs lights wet wood, floats, and can even burn on water or in any weather. Sustains winds up to 30 miles per hour, and each pouch weighs only 1.75 ounces. Need an emergency or camp stove? Get the InstaFire Inferno stove that boils 20 ounces of water in under 3 minutes with controllable heat and temps from 425 to 1500 degrees. Free shipping. Go to instafire.com and use discount code RADIO30 up to 3 times for 30% off your order. InstaFire. Fire in an instant.
Free Talk Live.
If I were a parent, and I am not, Mark, you are, I am not, but if I were a parent, then I would be teaching my kids the difference between right and wrong based on whether or not people get hurt, not whether or not some elected official has written some words down on a piece of paper and deemed something to be illegal. There have been so many things over the history of time that have been labeled as illegal.
It's legal. It was legal to shoot engines in this country. Did that make it right? Legal and illegal, right and wrong, these things do not correspond here in America.
They rarely correspond as a matter of fact.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Now, there are some things that are illegal that are absolutely wrong, like murder or arson or destruction of property or
However,
stealing.
It's also illegal to not pay taxes to the federal government. Is that wrong? Absolutely not.
That's
it is
heroic.
right to keep the money that you earn.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free here at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Some very shocking statistics having come out about young people, teenagers specifically, and their usage, continual usage of smartphone devices, and how that may be affecting their social lives and their depression. As soon as the iPhone came out, basically, is what we're talking about, is the main kind of there's no turning back, or that point. And we'll get into some more of what's been going on. You can also share your thoughts with us toll free at 855-450 free like freedom. Plus, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com, where you can shop with Free Talk Live at shop.freetalklive.com. Amazon broke up with us this week, Amazon US, so we won't be promoting their links anymore because they won't work to help Free Talk Live. So if you've been going through and bookmarked the old Amazon link, then, well, that's not going to help us anymore because Amazon, for whatever reason, doesn't want to do any business with Free
They also
Talk Live.
decided to take all the revenues that we had sort of stacked up.
For the last month.
Yeah. That was sort of waiting in the kitty for us to get paid on.
Yeah, they're going to just keep that.
I honestly don't think that clause would hold up.
What, in court?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was only worth more than $1,000.
It's their terms of service, so,
right,
whatever.
But it's self-contradictory terms of service.
I see what you're saying.
And I'm not talking about making them take you back on. I'm talking about the money that you had already earned.
Yeah, well, it's water under the bridge, I think, at this point.
That's what they want, and, frankly...
They want to steal the money out of the accounts.
Well, they want to keep the money. They figured that your speculation, Mark, is that they just want to cut off affiliates like Free Talk Live because they figured they're going to get the business anyway.
Right, they're Amazon. When we started, it was almost 15 years ago.
It was 10-ish.
More than 10.
12 maybe.
What?
I think we started in like 05.
Okay, 12.
Yeah.
So 12 years ago, Amazon wasn't the company that it is today.
It was still big back then.
It wasn't small, but they needed to, now they're a monolith. And
that's true.
I think they're just like, well, if people are going to buy online, they're likely going to buy from us. So what do we have affiliates for when people are just using the link and we have to pay 7%?
If Amazon had sent you a letter and said, effective immediately, we are no longer doing business with you as an affiliate because reasons... All right,
that's what
but
they
that's
did.
not what happened. Then they said, and also, by the way,
we're
seizing this money from you as if we're the FBI or something. No.
Well, anyway,
that makes me question Amazon's integrity.
Indeed. Well, it's a done deal now. If you want to help support Free Talk Live, you can still go to shop.freetalklive.com. You'll find our Walmart affiliate link there, which is up and running. And you can, of course, get a lot of the same stuff that you could get at Amazon over at Walmart, and Free Talk Live will get a cut. Or you can go straight to walmart.freetalklive.com. All right, so we're talking about teenagers and their use of smartphones. According to the story here at The Atlantic, teens who get together with their friends have nearly every day dropped by more than 40% from the year 2000 to 2015, and the decline has been especially steep recently. And it's not only a matter of fewer kids partying, fewer kids are spending time simply hanging out. That's something that most teens used to do. Nerds and jocks, poor kids and rich kids, C students and A students, the roller rink, basketball court, town pool, local necking spot, they've all been replaced by virtual spaces accessed through apps and the web. You might expect that teens spend so much time in these new spaces because it makes them happy, but most data suggests that it does not. The Monitoring the Future study, funded by the NIDA and designed to be nationally representative, has asked 12th graders more than 1,000 questions every year since 1975. And queried 8th and 10th graders since 1991. The survey asks teens how happy they are and how much of their leisure time they spend on various activities, including non-screen activities such as in-person social interaction and exercise. And in recent years, screen activities such as using social media, texting, and browsing the web. The results could not be clearer. Teens who spend more time than average on screen activities are more likely to be unhappy, and those who spend more time than average on non-screen activities are more likely to be happy. There's not a single exception. All screen activities are linked to less happiness, and all non-screen activities are linked to more happiness. 8th graders who spend 10 or more hours a week on social media are 56% more likely to say they're unhappy than those who devote less time to social media. Admittedly, 10 hours a week is a lot, but those who spend 6 to 9 hours per week on social media are still 47% more likely to say they are unhappy.
That's just 1 hour a day.
Yeah, than those who use social media even less. And I suspect most teens use it for more than an hour a day.
Yeah.
The opposite is true of in-person interactions. Those who spend an above average amount of time with their friends in person are 20% less likely to say they're unhappy than those who hang out for a below average amount of time. If you were going to give advice for a happy adolescence based on this survey, it would be straightforward. Put down the phone, turn off the laptop, and do something. Anything that doesn't involve a screen. Now, of course, these analyses don't unequivocally prove that screen time causes unhappiness because, again, correlation is not necessarily causation. It's possible, for instance, that unhappy teens spend more time online. But research suggests that screen time, in particular social media use, does indeed cause unhappiness. One study asked college students with a Facebook page to complete short surveys on the phone over the course of 2 weeks. They'd get a text message with a link 5 times a day, and they'd report on their mood and how much they'd used Facebook. The more they'd used Facebook, the unhappier they felt. But feeling unhappy did not subsequently lead to more Facebook use. Social networking sites like Facebook promise to connect us to friends, but the portrait of iGen teens emerging from the data is one of a lonely, dislocated generation. Teens who visit social networking sites every day but see their friends in person less frequently are the most likely to agree with the statements, quote, a lot of times I feel lonely, or I often feel left out of things, and I often wish I had more good friends.
You remember that we read about it about a month ago, the guy who killed himself and the girl that encouraged him?
Yeah.
People called them
girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah, called her his girlfriend on a regular basis throughout the articles, and they hadn't seen each other. They lived like
an hour away.
Yeah, there was about an hour between them. They hadn't seen each other in over a year.
Yeah. Not your girlfriend, dude.
I could That's. I don't. I don't know what he was calling her, but by my definition, not a girlfriend. If you're living an hour away and you're not seeing somebody, but once a year, that's not a girlfriend. That's something different. That's a text buddy. But maybe it's just that I'm so far removed from what reality is for these young people that it could be. If you're not seeing your friends on a daily basis, how often do you see your boyfriend or girlfriend?
The statistics also hold true when it comes to depression. The more time teens spend looking at screens, the more likely they are to report symptoms of depression. 8th graders who are heavy users of social media increase their risk of depression by 27%, while those who play sports, go to religious services, and even do homework more than the average teen cut their risk significantly. Teens who spend 3 hours a day or more on electronic devices are 35% more likely to have a risk factor for suicide, such as making a suicide plan. One piece of data that indirectly but stunningly captures kids' growing isolation for good and for bad since 2007, again, around the time when the iPhone came out.
Okay.
The homicide rate among teens has declined, but the suicide rate has increased. As teens have started spending less time together, they have become less likely to kill one another and more likely to kill themselves. For the first time in 2011, the first time in 24 years, the teen suicide rate was higher than the teen homicide rate. Now, depression and suicide have many causes. Too much technology is clearly not the only one, and the teen suicide rate was even higher in the 1990s, long before smartphones existed. Then again, about 4 times as many Americans now take antidepressants, which are often effective in treating severe depression, the type most strongly linked to suicide. So what's the connection between smartphones and the apparent psychological distress that this generation is experiencing? For all their power to link kids day and night, social media also exacerbate the age-old teen concern about being left out. Today's teens may go to fewer parties and spend less time together in person, but when they do congregate, they document their hangouts relentlessly on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Those not invited to come along to the party are keenly aware of it.
I see.
Accordingly, the number of teens who feel left out has reached all-time highs across age groups. Like the increase in loneliness, the upswing in feeling left out has been swift and significant. We'll continue, and you can share your thoughts on Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now at
855-510-BACK.
for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain.
Call 855-510-BACK to see if laser spine surgery is right for you. That's 855-510-BACK.
What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring silence to their rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait
now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Just dial in toll free here and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. We're talking about some disturbing numbers attacking the use of smartphones and social media specifically to teen suicide rates, depression, and just general, not wanting to go and do anything at all. I guess that is part of depression. But some really just shocking numbers, especially after 2007. So basically the last 10 years, a lot of things that we sort of took for granted as teenagers have sort of fallen by the wayside.
Or maybe it's because their parents are too busy on their iPhones and they won't drive them anywhere.
Well, that could be, and I think that these problems do affect people in the millennial and Generation X.
But the kids don't want to get their own driver's licenses. Look,
that's another thing. Yeah.
But wait, did it say they don't want to, or did it say that they haven't? Because those are two different things.
Like the not interest in having they're not interested in having a driver's license. Go ahead, Ian, and read the quote if you would. But I'll tell you, on my 15th birthday, or the first day thereafter that I could, and 16th birthday or the first day thereafter that I could, I had my restricted and operator's permit, because I understood for my world that being able to direct a motor vehicle, be it in one case a scooter and in the next case a car, meant freedom for my life. I wanted that freedom. I wanted the ability to visit girls' houses, visit friends' houses, get to work without mom dropping me off, get to school with mom dropping me off. I wanted all that responsibility. And what I'm not hearing is, and freedom, I want that responsibility and freedom, and I'm not hearing that from these folks. And that frightens me.
Yeah, that's actually addressed here in the story, and I'm trying to pull it up. But let's go actually first to Jason, who's on the line on Skype. Hello, Jason.
Hey, guys. I'm actually a developer. I develop web pages and for like mobile devices and websites and stuff, and for a living. But I actually don't have a smartphone. I've switched to a flip phone.
Wow.
And in fact, I've
met developers, another developer that said just the same thing to me.
Why?
Yeah, and I had an iPhone from day one. So, and it was just this year that I switched to a flip phone. So I've had 10 years now. So.
What was the reason?
Honestly, my people in my life are so addicted to it, and just as like a way to just show people that are around me how I want them to stop using their phone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided I was going to stop.
You got to lead the way.
It's been about 4 months now.
Be the change you wish to see.
Can you tell me what that was like? What was the first 2 weeks like? What's it like now?
Well, I have a MacBook Pro, and I do everything on it. And
you play games?
So I take that. No, I don't play video games at all. But I watch YouTube, and I get on Twitter still, but I do all my banking stuff and all my work all on my laptop, and then I just have a flip phone. And as far as Facebook goes, I just decided I didn't want to use Facebook either, and just deactivated my Facebook page about 4 months ago too.
I am jealous. I love it. I love it when people get off of Facebook, man. Congratulations. Was there more you wanted to share tonight?
Well, I haven't given up on Google yet. I haven't figured out if that's possible. I really like YouTube, and I use Google Voice now instead of a smartphone. So like all my text messaging and voicemail and everything is all on Google Voice.
That's handy.
It's free, and
I use
that
Google
way
Voice.
I can type,
I don't know why they still run Google Voice. It's not like they could possibly be making any money on it. So it feels like one of those programs are going to shut down one of these days, but they surprisingly haven't done that.
It's my primary phone number now. That's my number.
Yeah,
and
it'd
my
make me
cell
really,
phone,
really
my
grumpy.
flip phone forwards to that to get my voicemail. So
I'd be very grumpy if the Google Voice shut down my telephone number that I've had for 10 years.
Thanks very much for talking about the subject. I think people need to get away from smartphones. They're bad.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. So here's the issue about driving. So this actually appears earlier in the story, so from where I shared. Anyway, talking about teenage years of us in like Generation X, when independence was in among us, right? Like it says here, my friends and I plotted to get our driver's license as soon as we could, making DMV appointments for the day we turned 16.
Yeah.
That was me too. And using our newfound freedom to escape the confines of our suburban neighborhood. I also went out and got a job as soon as I could at age 16.
I had a job before you could do it legally. Yeah. I petitioned the person for whom I was working to get paid in cash, because up to that point I was getting paid in comic books.
So asked by our parents, when will you be home? We replied, when do I have to be? But the allure of independence, so powerful to previous generations, holds less sway over today's teens, who are less likely to leave the house without their parents. The shift is stunning. 12th graders in 2015, 12th graders, typically 17 and 18 years old, in 2015 were going out less often than 8th graders did as recently as 2009.
I didn't go out as an 8th grader. We had a few school dances.
Yeah.
And
that's why this is stunning, because 12th graders are going out less often than 8th graders did.
Yeah.
Today's teens are also less likely to date. The initial stage of courtship, which Gen Xers called liking, kids now call talking, an ironic choice for a generation that prefers texting to actual conversation. After two teens have talked for a while they might start dating. But only about 56% of high school seniors in 2015 went out on dates. For boomers and Gen Xers, that number was about 85%.
Yeah, and the others wanted to go out, but their parents wouldn't let them.
Yep, that's absolutely true. So to go back to the connection between smartphones and psychological distress and depression, what's the connection? Well, for all their power to link kids day and night, social media exacerbates teens' fears of being left out. As we explained earlier, the trend has been especially steep among girls. So people don't like seeing, teenagers don't want to see their other people in their generation having fun when they're not invited. 48% more, and you see that on social media, 48% more girls said they often felt left out in 2015 than they did in 2010, just 5 years before, compared with 27% more boys. Girls use, so again, 48% more girls saying they felt left out. They use social media more often, females do, giving them additional opportunities to feel excluded and lonely when they see their friends or classmates getting together without them. Social media levy a psychic tax on the teen doing the posting as well, as she anxiously awaits the affirmation of comments and likes. When Athena, the teenager they interviewed here, posts pictures to Instagram, she told me, quote, "I'm nervous about what people think and are going to say. It sometimes bugs me when I don't get a certain amount of likes on a picture," unquote. Girls have also borne the brunt of the rise in depressive symptoms among today's teens. Boys' depressive symptoms increased 21% from 2012 to 2015, while girls increased 50%, more than twice as much. Although the rate increased for both sexes, 3 times as many 12 to 14-year-old girls killed themselves in 2015 as in 2007, compared with twice as many boys. These more dire consequences for teen girls could also be rooted in the fact that they're more likely to experience cyberbullying. Boys tend to bully one another physically, while girls are more likely to do so by undermining a victim's social status or relationships. Social media give middle and high school girls a platform on which to carry out the style of aggression they favor, that is, ostracization and excluding other girls around the clock. So the story then goes on to post some very shocking graphs where it really shows a very clear decline in, for instance, dating, as we mentioned earlier, or teenagers not interested in driving because in a lot of cases they've got their parents to drive them places, and soon enough the cars will drive them around themselves.
Right. It's possible that we are now seeing kids that will never learn to drive.
Yep. More likely to feel lonely. All of these numbers started to change dramatically pretty much right around the time the iPhone came out. And then the story goes on to talk about a teenage girl in Texas who woke in July of 2014 to the smell of something burning. Her phone had overheated and melted into the sheets. Of course, national news outlets picked up the story, stoking readers' fears their cell phone might spontaneously combust. But to the author, he says the flaming cell phone wasn't, or she says the flaming cell phone wasn't the only surprising aspect. Why, I wondered, would anyone sleep with their phone beside her in bed?
Because that's where the outlet is.
It's not as though you can surf the web while you're sleeping, and who could slumber deeply inches from a buzzing phone? Curious, I asked my undergraduate students in San Diego State University what they do with their phone while they sleep. Their answers were a profile in obsession. Nearly all slept with their phone, putting it under their pillow, on the mattress, or at the very least within arm's reach of the bed. And guess where mine is at night?
Well, first of all, it's also your alarm clock, so it can't be in the kitchen.
It is, and they address that as well, that every single one of these teenagers uses it as their alarm clock.
It would be stupid to buy a separate alarm clock.
I can't make the thing go off when I want it to go off. I need my alarm clock because I know how to set it.
It's a fascinating story. We'll post the full thing for you to read on at your leisure on our Twitter and our Facebook. That is to say, the social media, which is part of the problem. We'll see you tomorrow. freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, October 9th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.91 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,282 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,599. Antiwar.com reports locals are reporting heavy airstrikes carried out by Russian and Syrian warplanes in the eastern Deir Ezor province that have left at least 79 civilians dead and an unknown number of others wounded over the last 48 hours. The strikes killed 50 in the Al-Ashara and Hajan districts along the Euphrates River. Other attacks were reported along the river, with Russia saying they'd killed at least 120 the Islamic State fighters and allies in the province in a pair of attacks. The attacks that killed combatants were centered around Al-Mayadin and Al-Bukamal, where 80 people and 40 people were killed respectively. The Bukamal incidents were extremely close to the Hajan district, so it's not totally clear if there isn't some overlap. This has been a recurring problem in anti-the Islamic State pushes by all factions, as the reliance on heavy air support to displace the Islamic State from populated areas tends to boil down to pounding residential areas and killing large numbers of innocent bystanders. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports the U.S. Embassy in Turkey announced Sunday that it has suspended all non-immigrant visa services to Turkish citizens, effective immediately. The embassy said in a statement, recent events have forced the United States government to reassess the commitment of the government of Turkey to the security of U.S. mission facilities and personnel. In response, the Turkish government suspended visas for Americans using much the same language used by the U.S. Embassy. The visa spat comes after Turkish officials arrested a U.S. consulate worker in Istanbul last week on suspicion of being involved with a U.S.-backed Turkish cleric who has been accused of orchestrating a failed coup last year. After the arrest was made, the U.S. Embassy in Turkey said it was deeply disturbed by the action, as well as leaks from government sources seemingly aimed at trying the employee in the media rather than in a court of law. The U.S. Embassy also said the allegations against the employee were baseless and anonymous. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the FBI on Sunday started returning thousands of purses, phones, and other property left behind by concert-goers in Las Vegas fleeing a deadly mass shooting as the Red Cross stepped up efforts to reach those traumatized by the October 1st massacre. Investigators still lack a clear reason why Stephen Paddock unleashed a torrent of gunfire into a crowd of 22,000 at the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival. The suspect shot himself to death before the police stormed his 32nd floor suite in the Mandalay Bay Casino and Resort high above the concert venue. Unlike many other perpetrators of deadly mass shootings, Paddock did not leave a suicide note, a manifesto, recordings, or messages on social media pointing to an intent. To honor the victims on Sunday night, marquee lights along the Las Vegas Strip were dimmed for 11 minutes from 10:05 until 10:16 p.m., the exact time and duration of the gunfire 1 week prior. On Sunday, teams of counselors fanned out across the city, attending church services and gathering at a family assistance center set up at the Las Vegas Convention Center as the Red Cross set out to find those in need of comfort. Spiritual and legal advisors were also available. The process of returning items left behind by those who fled in chaos could take weeks, according to authorities. Because there were so many phones, backpacks, lawn chairs, and other items left behind, the FBI has divided the huge crime scene into 4 quadrants, releasing items from only one at a time. Before release, the items had to be cleaned of blood and other substances, as well as categorized. Authorities began returning vehicles left at the concert grounds to their owners last week. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After a flood of customer complaints, Kay Jewelers issued an immediate recall this week of over 2 million cursed engagement and wedding rings. The company's director of public relations released an apology to those afflicted.
I can assure our customers that we were not aware our manufacturers were sourcing diamonds tainted by the darkling Urla. We're strongly recommending customers who have not yet returned their purchases for a full refund to place a mirror in a bowl of black salt, mold a poppet in your image out of clay and your lover's hair, and then burn the poppet in the mirror before the next full moon.
Industry experts are calling this the most egregious safety oversight in jewelry production since 1973, when Zales disturbed the grave of the 16th century sorcerer Maelor.
Sometimes I wake up and I'm trapped in this oil painting of a German village.
They told us that there was a 68% chance that our child would be born with no soul. They sent us this disclaimer suggesting we leave the changeling in the wood and return only at our own peril.
This is the Onion News Network. And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines, and after a century